Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us. Ancient Energy Healings. Still talking about intuition. So here I have Leanne Rose, and what I love about her is she's just like me. We're similar that we trans channel. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna have Leanne describe what she does and how she helps people because she can do it the best. And I I wouldn't understand really how to describe it. So thank you, Leanne, for being a speaker for me.
Thanks for having me. Lovely. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name's Leanne. I am a trans channel, as you fully spoke about. I love that we share that gift. And so what that basically means is that I am able, to receive, interpret, and then translate source frequency instantaneously. So those higher frequencies and basically that juicy wisdom, all that juicy good stuff that kind of comes with you get that the juicy words of wisdom, but you also get that energetic transmission of stuff as well. And I am also a Creatrix consciousness mentor. So the core message that we teach about, me and the frequencies that I trans channel, that are called the Galila Collective, we teach you basically how to access the core of your power as the creator of your entire reality. So we literally teach you about the most advanced levels of manifestation, and it's such juicy stuff.
Love it. That's so awesome. I mean, you're you're channeling and you're giving the message of source. I mean, that's that's pretty I want to say for other people like source. What other words could you say for source? Universe, right?
Universe, yeah.
God.
Yeah, God frequency. And it was huge for me to accept that. So when they first came through, they just told me they were the Galila Collective and that they were here to help well, in fact, they didn't even say they were here to help humanity. They said they were here to help Gaia with ascension. It was that very clear message of we're here to help on a much bigger scale. And it took a long time for me. The core message that they were getting across was that we are all one. Like nothing, everything is interconnected, everything is divinity, everything is source. And so when they were able to say, and that's what we are source, at first, my human piece was like, I can't say that. That sounds like huge. But I get it now because we're not separate. And actually, all that is ourselves as source at those higher frequencies coming in to assist us as source in human bodies.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so going back to subject of the summit, um, how is it that you understood that you're using your intuition? Because for me, I had no idea.
I was exactly the same. I'll be honest with you. I was exactly the same. Had no idea that I was like really deeply connected um to intuitive gifts because it's just part of us, isn't it? Like it's such a part of us. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people. Like you'll be receiving messages, but you think it's just you. But I mean, of course, it is you because it's you as source. But it is still your intuition, like, and it's that higher guidance. So I suppose for me, the one of the biggest things that kind of woke me up was that I had a spontaneous channeling experience. In that I was meditating one day, and my eyes just flew open of their own accord. I felt like somebody else had opened my eyes. I felt like my consciousness had like retracted to the back of my head and that something else was looking out of my eyes. So it was like a massive wake up call. It was like this intense level of presence. Um, and that was my first inkling that there were energies that were not just my own consciousness that were moving through my system. So um, that was the first sign for me that I was connecting to something. And so you said before when we were chatting, like how would you define intuition? And so for me, your intuition is your connection to your channel. It's that connection to yourself as source and that higher wisdom. And so for me, it came in a very obvious way, in a way that I couldn't ignore because I'd been ignoring it for so long. And that was how it eventually caught my attention. It really, grabbed me in a way that I couldn't then ignore. And then after that, obviously getting used to those frequencies and learning to recognize what was me and what was different energy, I was then much more able to attune to, that intuitive element or that channel being open as I was moving about my day.
So what made you want to meditate? Was that a practice that you did? A lot of people, even me, my meditation practice is nil. I I am a busy person and I don't make time, but I know I need to. So I can just get a sense of myself. I mean, I mean when I channel, I can go into channeling pretty easily, but I know to be able to, for myself, to get to where I personally want to be, I need to be meditating more. What made you want to meditate?
So I was actually an awful meditator at the time. I really should say that. Like I was always falling asleep. Like I wasn't very good at it.
I think that's why I I shy away from it because I'll just fall asleep. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
guess I need to get that nap.
And I suppose I should say now, so at the time I was drawn to that because I was on a real self-healing journey as I'd quite a rough childhood. And I was just on that healing process of just trying to feel better. And meditation was a part of that, was trying to reclaim some elements of wellness and, feeling okay again. But like I say, I was awful with it. Wasn't very disciplined, always falling asleep. But there were some lovely moments that came from that. And I would say somebody that's starting out in a spiritual journey, meditation is definitely key. But now that I'm like 12, 13 years into the process, I no longer really I don't meditate as a practice. I meditate when I feel I want to, rather than it being like a pressure. To me, meditation can be anything. It can be dancing, it can be yoga, it can be, and that I find that way more fun than just sitting down and like sometimes that just it doesn't sometimes it's exactly what I need and I'm resisting it because my system's going to show me something that's I need to work through, and it will be a bit sticky and painful, but it's important that I transmute it. But yeah, for the most part, I think make meditation fun and make it something that you want to enjoy, that you're actively going to want to do because you enjoy it, is a really beneficial way of getting around that piece, because we put ourselves under so much pressure, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I love that you brought that up because, well, when the gyms were open before the pandemic, one of the things I really enjoyed um, was I was learning how to run. So I, I was on the treadmill. I'm not a runner, but I wanted to understand what was the fascination with running because I'm not a runner. So, but what I did really enjoy about that, and I felt like that was my version of meditation, and I think that's uh, where I felt best to be able to listen. I was able to
Yeah.
listen more, even though I did have headphones on and I was listening to all kinds of fast music, whether it's heavy metal, rap, whatever. Um, but I didn't necessarily listen to the words. I was just listening to the sounds and getting that to get into a rhythm. So then I
Yeah.
could tune out.
Absolutely. I love that. And it's so funny, that's kind of just drawn me back to this experience of before I actually knew I was a trance channel, I was actively trance channeling when I was running. I used to really enjoy running around the park. And I remember this one time, so part of the collective conscious that I trance channel includes Goddess Kali, who's that real creatrix energy, like very kind of that sacred sexuality piece. Like she's just amazing, she's exquisite, she completely transformed my life, I'll tell you that for free.
Nice.
And she literally ran me around this park and she was like, you are gonna, I'm gonna show you what like real womanhood looks like. Because at the time I was very much a girl, like very much a little girl, very much afraid of her own power. And she really she would move my body and really like show me, this is power frequency, this is what it looks like, this is what it feels like, help it move through you. And it's like the movement piece in the body naturally allows those frequencies to help you get amplified and get moving. I think a lot of the time when we're in dense frequencies, we don't want to move, and we think that meditation is going to be you know, it's going to be actually sometimes we need to just get bloody moving, because that's going to get those frequencies moving through us and helping us to shift some of that stuff.
Yes, you're right. I mean, isn't there a lot of, I forgot, with some of the speakers I've had, they do a lot of the, I don't remember what it called because I don't do it, but dance is a lot of it. And I don't do that a lot, but I do enjoy movement, even though
Yeah.
I sit at my desk a lot and just on my computer. And when I get up, I'm like, oh, I need to move around. Okay, so getting off track, but let's get back on track. Um, so when you when you're in your intuition and you're in your creatrix, how, oh, I guess for me, it just, I've done it to you. One of the first things or frequencies I channeled was the fairy realm.
Mm.
How, and for me, they're very like, for those of you who don't understand what the fairy realm is, it's so much not like Disney.
Oh, they can be a bit mischievous, those fairies, can't they?
It's super high, like it's like moving like this at a very high frequency, and it's like every single thing wants to come out the line of fairies, and they all want to speak at once. So when they come out and say, it's like it's like a machine gun full of fairies in my, it's just so high frequency, high tone, I guess. So when you first were channeling Creatrix, or I don't remember what you said, with the collective, do you know it was different? Like I know really the fairies when they come in, it's the way in and I speak. It's just I don't know how I speak that fast. Like right now is my normal speed, but
So the way that they come in, so and I think this was why I had to trans channel it in order to recognize that I was actually channeling, because there was always that version of me that was just didn't trust myself that this was actually what I was doing. And so they come through in a very obvious way for me now, like extremely obvious. So when they first stepped in, my entire system completely changed. I completely vibrated. Like my eyebrows go like so fast. It's ridiculous. Like I can't do it when I'm not channeling. They just go so fast. There used to be an advert in the UK where there was like kids with these eyebrows like this, and that's literally like what they look like. It's bizarre. One of the first things was that they did this huge, so they call it a verbal handshake, and they make a very bizarre noise as they like enter my system, and they kind of like vibrate, and it's almost like my body like kind of starts resonating with those frequencies. My eyes twitch, my lips are going, my nose is twitching. So it's very, very obvious that it's not me. And the accent changes, you know, it's very non-PC actually, but it's you know, I can't, it's that's what they come through as. There's loads of different reasons for why they show up in the way that they do, but it comes through in such an obvious way for me, and that's mainly for me, not for anybody else, so that I know that it's, you know, the higher frequencies, and that it's not just me, and I'm not just crazy and convincing myself that I'm doing these things that I'm not actually doing. So yeah, they come through in a very, 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 very obvious way for me.
um what, so do you only channel this one collective, or are you able to channel other
So
people?
I'm able to channel anything I want to channel. But the reason that I work with these fundamental frequencies, so I'll describe a little bit about what they actually are. They describe themselves as source frequency. And so what they show me is that we have infinite connections to ourselves as source. But within my individual journey, I have been anchoring into deeper and deeper bigger and bigger aspects of source energy itself. And so the more I kind of access greater levels of source, the more frequencies add to the collective, if you like. So it's basically a collection of frequencies that just keep adding and keep shifting and keep changing as I keep evolving and changing and shifting. So they're not, I suppose, they're not static in any way, shape, or form. They're always evolving. And what makes them the Galila Collective is that they come through me. So because they come through me as a sovereign human piece, you could be channeling, you know, the exact same frequencies out in the cosmos, if you like, but it wouldn't be the Galila Collective because it's because they come through me that they are the Galila Collective, if that makes sense.
Another speaker, she channels the seraphim angels, and what's that? So it's so interesting just learning about what other speakers, what other healers, and channels, how they channel and what beings they channel. Or in your case, the collective. Would you be able to give us a show or a demonstration of show? A demonstration. But before you go into a trance channel, you do have a free gift for our audience, right?
I do. So the core thing that we are teaching, and the reason that I am here at this time on this planet doing this thing, is that we are going through this shift as a collective from fifth dimensional frequencies into sixth dimensional frequencies, which basically means moving away from the illusion of separation from source and recognizing that we are source energy in human form and that we're not separate from it. And ultimately, sixth dimensional consciousness, which is what we are stepping into, this new paradigm, is the adult phase of manifestation. It's the height of our conscious creation power, if you like. And so I've got a masterclass that teaches about some of the core principles of the new paradigm that we are stepping into, the new paradigm of manifestation, and how you can start really implementing the truth that your internal reality is what is creating your external world. So if you want to shift and change anything out there, it's not about changing it out there. It's about changing the frequencies that you are resonating at in here. So yeah, that's our freebie that we've got to offer. So dive in.
Love it. I love it. 5D. I remember when I first was understanding all the D's, I was like, wait, there's a 5D. And then someone said, well, there's also a 7D. And I'm like, what? 7D? And then someone said, there's a 12. I was like, I'm still trying to understand 3.
It's so complex, isn't it? It is so complex. And they should, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, so we actually anchor into all elements of the multidimensional self. So we talk about 6D because that's where the version of us as the architect actually lives. Like that's where our multidimensional self that's creating our reality and projecting our third dimensional reality actually lives. Like that's where they reside. So that's why we talk about sixth dimensional consciousness. But it's this element of like we can access it all. Like literally we can. We're not separate from it. It's just about having that belief and having the courage to do it.
So is it just a frequency that we have to get into then? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Absolutely. So we go all the way up into like ninth dimensionality, which then kind of disintegrates and then refolds itself into the first dimension. It's like absolutely unreal. It's like the void space, but we go into that void space whenever we go into creation mode. It's not something that exists out there. It's something that like literally is in here. So I know that you're a creatrix, love. You got all kinds of gorgeous, juicy stuff that you're creating and in the world. And you know, when you go into that space of like, right, something new is about to be birthed in, like that's ninth dimensionality. That's what we sit and we reside in, and we just don't recognize consciously that that's what we're doing. But when we understand those threads and we're like, oh, this is me in full creator mode and I'm accessing these different frequencies, life takes on a different feel because we're very much in the driver's seat rather than just in the witness stands watching it all happen.
That's where we are now. Most of us are just, what's going on? I have no idea what's going on. Oh, that's going on. Okay, okay. I gotta pay attention. Right? I mean, if you're not, yeah, I mean, when you're in any kind of just busyness, you get to just sit and witness or even just be. Right? There was someone that I was talking to yesterday, and they're like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I'm like, "You're doing everything that you can. Just continue, just be you. That's awesome." Like they have this literally a community farm.
Wow.
And so they invite people to go in and plant and gather and forage, and because they have they are abundant, and they're like, I just want people to have. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, see, that's beautiful. Like if
Yeah.
everyone could be in that mindset, just, and we started going off on like consumerism, and I was like, oh my gosh. And we just met, we just started talking, and we just talked for an hour, and like, where did the time go?
So many juicy topics to get into.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so you're gonna give us a demonstration of your trance channeling. So, is there anything that any of us need, or do we just sit back and
Um,
listen?
yeah, so I would encourage you to chat with them. They will showcase their best material when they've got
Okay.
something to converse with. Um, just to warn people, they did make a bizarre noise on the way in. It doesn't look pretty either. If you pause any of this, I'm going to have double chins for days. Like it's not going to be attractive. And anything else so also there is always I mean, you will know this anyway, being a trans channel, there is always an energy transmission that comes with these things. So the basic rule of thumb is that around what you're hearing is around 20% of what you're receiving. There's about 80% of it that's just pure energy. So don't be surprised if you are feeling a little bit of it, particularly you, Camille. You're probably very sensitive to energy, so apologies if it throws you a bit
It's
into that.
okay. I love it. I love it.
All right, cool. I will see you Hello, dear soul.
Oh,
We are the Galila Collective, dear one. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, dear one. I do feel into heart space and I channel a beautiful question that you feel would be most beneficial for your audience to receive insight on today, dear one.
yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Um, I would love to know, what can we do more to be able to raise our frequency?
To understand, dear one, that it is not about searching for it, it is more about deciding that it is done. Do you see the difference in these two frequencies, dear one? One of which is in search for, which resonates with frequency of lack. It is not here already. But if you are embody the truth that you are already exactly where you need to be, that you are already at the resonant frequency of the core essence of all that you are right now, this is fundamentally what is going to open you up to all that you are really searching for, dear one. So let us get to the fundamental reason. Why do you wish to raise your frequency, dear one?
I just want to get to an abundance level that I don't understand I have.
And so, this is a frequency, dear soul. What external wish for abundance? And of course, this is your birthright, dear soul. It is your birthright. You are abundant being. But you come here not to automatically step in to this abundance, but to create it at the external level, through anchoring it internally as your truth. So the fundamental thing to recognize here is that you are already abundance itself. A beautiful way to play with this, dear one, is to anchor in the version of you that is truly abundant. How does she show up in the world? How does she hold herself as an individual? How does she interact with her loved ones? How does she interact with her own body? How does she feed herself? How does she clothe herself? How does she show up in her business? How does she show up in her relationships? How does she show up for herself? And this is an internal frequency, dear one. It is not that this version of you shows up when these external pieces drop in. It is that this version of you must be born and created within your very selves, within yourself, in order for this abundance to be reflected outside in the external world. For your external reality is simply a reflection of your internal frequency, is it not, dear soul?
What more can we do to help Mama Gaia?
Recognize that she is not in need of support, but that she is in need of your individual vibrance. You are a part of Mama Gaia, dear one. You are an extension of her. When you allow yourself to feel completely filled with love, when you allow yourself to be deeply protected and provided for through your own internal frequencies, when you stop violating your own boundaries, then this is what will also be the case for Mama Gaia, dear souls. You are not separate from her. You are extensions of her. Many of you have been attempting to try to fix the wounds that have been inflicted upon her. But you are doing this from external level. And of course, this is needed also, but the internal pieces are needed more than the external, dear ones. She is a powerful being, dear ones. See her as such. She is powerful, powerful being of creation, just as you are. And so, what we are wishing you to really anchor into around this truth, dear one. If you are looking into a mirror and you see that there is something amiss, perhaps your hair maybe not as beautifully put as you would like it to, you would not attempt to try to fix the mirror. You would not attempt to try to fix the reflection. You would fix this element, the inside piece. What is happening on your planet is an external mirror reflection of what is happening for each of you as individuals within. The world is attacking itself because most of you are attacking your own selves at individual level. Be kinder, more loving, and protective of your own selves. Protect your boundaries. Stand up for your individuality and love yourself enough to say no when you mean it, to say yes from place of abundance and overflow. And this is when your wealth, your Mama Gaia, will reflect this back to you also.
Beautiful, beautiful. I have one more question that is coming up for me. For those people who have health issues, what do they need to do to help get well?
So fundamentally, health issues come up as a way to help you return to your internal consciousness, dear souls. It is simply a manifestation of worry or powerlessness or fear that is manifesting in external element of physical body. But see this as a necessary redirection. Your body is screaming out for your attention so that you give it what it needs, which is love, presence, affection. It is fundamentally happening for you, dear ones, to call you back home to where your power lies, which is your internal world. Your system is calling you into greater levels of self-love and self-trust, dear one. It is not punishing you. It is not happening because of karma or any of these things, dear ones. These are old paradigm. It is happening so that you allow yourself to anchor into deeper levels of self-love, of rest, of deep, deep rest within the body to truly come home to yourself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Those are all my questions. Do you have one thing that you can tell our audience?
Dear ones, you are far more powerful than currently you realize. And anchoring in to learning to trust your own divinity. Do not fear ego, but really learning to trust your human as a sovereign piece of source energy will be key as we step into new paradigm, dear souls. Fundamental self-trust, self-love. And we are aware of time limit, dear one, so we will say goodbye for now. Sending you oodles and oodles of love. Thank you, dear one, for giving us platform to verbalize our message.
Thank you.
Goodbye, dear one. Oh, hello.
Thank you. I love it.
Oh, great questions. Fabulous
Um,
questions.
So when you channel, do you remember most of the conversations?
It depends. It depends how deep I go. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. For the most part, I remember bits and pieces. I'm kind of left with like the energetic flavor. So they just give me, I mean, I'm sure you're the same, is that I get the energetic flavor. So the knowing of it stays with me, even if I don't remember the details of the conversation.
My gosh, I love it. Thank you so much for giving a demonstration and channeling, because again, I don't know if a lot of people understand. Maybe the best example right now is Abraham Hicks. So you are your own Abraham Hicks. But you're Leanne Rose.
It's funny you should say that because it's Abraham Hicks is one of the first introductions to manifestation. And when I first started channeling, I remember having that element of, oh God, I do what Asta does. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you so much, Leanne. It's been a pleasure talking to you and experiencing your channeling. I hope the rest of the audience was extremely excited for hearing what your channeling was able to say. Um, any parting words for our audience?
Yeah, so I would just like to say that we are shifting into a new paradigm right now, and part of that involves being placed under an awful lot of pressure. So many of us are going to be feeling like at the moment, but what I want to remind you of is that it's your system working for you. It's trying to pull you in to all of the ways in which you are deeply unhappy right now so that you can do something about it. So for those of you that are struggling with that stuff, we've got lots of free kinds of things on YouTube that help you kind of anchor into the newer frequencies and feel less of the intense pressure. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Camille, this has just been so much fun, and it was just so lovely to chat with you.
You so much, Leanne. And again, for those of you who are resonating with what Leanne can do and can offer, please go ahead and click on her link, get her free gift, and watch this again. I mean, she gave a channeling for the collective. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone.